Welcome in to the Fire Zone Show. We're back at you after the Thanksgiving holiday, after we talked about this just a second ago. We did that Patrick Queen film room with Coach Evans. And last time it was just you and me, was the Bengals game. So it's been a minute, but we're back. We are back. I'm joined as always by Denard Melton at the Fire Zone Show. I'm MC, your humble co-host. Before we kick it all off, let's touch base since it's been, a minute. What's going on, Denard? How you been? How's Thanksgiving? How's everything going?
Things have been great. Just watching a little football, enjoying life a little bit, just relaxing for a change, It's nice. Yeah. It's nice until Black Friday showed up, and then who knows?
Y'all go out, or you just
no. I learned my lesson a very long time ago, and I wasn't even paying attention. I was back in Virginia, and I was just like, I gotta run out and get something. And it was after Thanksgiving. I just wasn't really thinking like what day it was. So went out to the Walmart down the street, and by far one of the worst decisions. I literally was just going in there to get some like hanging stuff. Like I wasn't going in to like buy TVs, and I felt like I was accosted. I was thrown all over the place for some TVs I didn't want. So I felt abused, and I won't allow that to ever happen again. So if I ever go anywhere on Black Friday, it'll be in front of my computer ordering something.
That's the way to do it. I've been fortunate. I've not ever gone to Black Friday sale situation in person as a shopper. Now, back in the day, my younger days, I used to work in retail. I worked several Black Fridays, and it got crazy, as you just described. It got crazy in some of those places. I show people already know I'm old, but this for people that go back, this really shows my age. Like with because a lot of this stuff around Black Friday, of course, is the electronics. But if you got kids, the toys, right? Like whatever the hottest toy is for that season, that's what everybody's trying to. So this was during the Beanie Baby, the Beanie Baby phase. That's how long ago.
Boy. My mom was into that.
Yeah, and I was working at Nordstrom. I think that's where I was working back then. And it was crazy what people were doing to try to get those things. I saw some stuff that, really was illegal, probably. I mean, those probably are crimes that should have been reported.
You did not just say illegal.
Yeah, technically, I think those were crimes. But, we look the other way. But anyway, I'm like you. It's all online at this point. I'm not getting out there like that. Thanksgiving was good. It's my favorite holiday. I'm not gonna lie. I love Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Because of the food. I can't even front. I love it because of the food and football. I mean, it's got two of my favorite things. You got good food. You're watching football all day.
Stop. You did not watch that Lions game. Don't even say you turned the TV on.
Oh, no, I didn't watch that. I mean, I think I turned it on towards the end. I think we turned it on towards the end, but we weren't watching. I forget, we were watching something on Netflix. Oh, we were watching King Richard. It was HBO. Okay. Yeah, we were watching King Richard because my dad and my mom came up, and my dad had started watching it, but he hadn't finished it. He's like, "Hey, have you seen it?" I was like, "Nah, I haven't watched none of it." So we watched that. So that killed pretty much the entire Lions game.
Yeah. Then you watched the bar fight that broke out.
Yeah, then we transitioned into the other game, so it kind of worked out.
And then the butt whooping. I mean, what Buffalo Bills team is going to show up every week? Like seriously.
If the Ravens had to face them in the playoffs, I hope we get the one who maybe they ain't firing on all cylinders. I don't like that one that shows up and tries to blow people out. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, that one's wrong. That's evil. But
I
anyway,
don't
yeah,
see that at all, at all,
at all.
at all. But speaking of football, let's talk about this Ravens game, right? Ravens beat the Browns. Another game. I don't want to make this about me. It's not about me. Okay, this is about the Ravens. Yeah. But my second game of the season, in person, second win of the season.
I don't know if you want to really. I know it's a W and all, and it smells like a W, look like a W, quack like a W. They put a W next to that one. Ooh boy.
Hey, you know what? There ain't no pictures, right?
No,
when you look at the pictures in there, this is letters and numbers. That's all that's in there. There's a W and an 8 and 3. So on the offensive side of the ball, right? And see, that's the thing. That's the beauty of doing this show right now, being defensive focused. We don't even have to talk about that.
No, we don't.
Have to talk about 4 interceptions.
We don't have to acknowledge the dumpster fire that was.
We don't talk about that. That's for another time and place. So we're going to focus on the defense because that's what we do. And on that side of the ball, hey, I liked what I saw on that side of the ball. I mean, we'll get into it here, but we haven't seen that kind of performance, that kind of consistent performance from the defense in a while. And to do it against a division opponent, to do it against one of the better, some say the best running game in the league coming in, in the Cleveland Browns, having Chubb, getting Kareem Hunt back for that game. Had their right tackle back briefly. Unfortunately, he got hurt seriously. I think he's done for the year.
I mean, Owe did give him the stanky leg
Yeah. Anyway. That was rough.
Yeah,
that was right. And I shared it in our little group chat, that clip. I didn't want to share it publicly because I'm not trying to make it look like I'm celebrating injuries or anything like that. But you could see the way his leg hyperextended.
He was trying to catch the move and his leg just wasn't. It got stuck in the grass, and then at that point, it was a wrap.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. Yeah. So coming in, aside from that, like you said, we wish him a speedy recovery, of course. Respect opponents around here. But coming in, you're thinking, man, this run game, this is going to be a tall task, right? In any situation. Mm-hmm. But then you don't have Calais Campbell.
No,
this is because of concussion, right? Yep. You've been down Derek Wolfe all year, so you haven't had that. Got Brandon Williams back, which was a boost.
Which prior to the Cleveland game was the great disappearing man.
Reappeared.
He's been missing since 2019. There's been a wanted poster out for him. I think someone found him last Thursday. I think Waldo showed up.
I saw it on Sunday. I saw it.
And I saw the man that I thought should have been playing that way for the last year and a half. I'm not sure what's been going on, but that was the best game I have seen him play in a year and a half. Without question. Since they got beat up against, who was that? In 2019, they lost the streak. Who just beat them down the stretch?
Before they got on the streak? Because remember, they got on and then they didn't lose again until the playoffs.
Right.
It was the Browns. So the Browns went crazy.
It was that one, but there was a game in there in the run where I might have been the San Francisco game where he just didn't. It just didn't look right. Yeah, because San Francisco ran up 170 in the first half. It was bad. And after that game, it was just the D-line just went to crap at that point. But kudos to him. Him playing that way and the rest of those cats understanding their role, they're going to be a hard out come playoffs.
Well, let's start it right there then. Let's lean into that because when we do this, this is our normal MO.
Yep.
We go, position group by position group. And since we started with Brandon Williams, let's stay on the defensive line. Obviously, you talked about him, but then guys like Justin Matabike, Broderick Washington,
Yes.
Isaiah Mack, who they just recently signed, got in and got some run.
Yes.
And then of course, the outside backers, Houston, Owe, Bowser, Tybo, right? We can lump all these guys in, man, and then we'll take a step back to the inside backers next. But overall, that defensive line, what did you think? I mean, because it was impressive in person. I mean, I kept seeing, good edges being set and not back on the inside. I mean, I just kept seeing that over and over again.
Yeah, I will say this: when you have time with each other in practice, in games, and you're able to practice run defense, you can understand the guy next to you. You see that the defense up front has simplified its gaps, it's simplified its movements, its stunts, whatever. Everything's been simplified in the essence because the coaches wink, the players understand that the D line is starting to take over. And I'm not even saying in terms of sack production because that's coming. I mean, you've got Bowser who, if he keeps going, might be underpaid by the beginning of next year. Just saying. They figured out how to use him to their best abilities. And I think you saw that in the Cleveland game in those 3 plays where he rushed the passer, got the sack, turned around and played man coverage and on the tight end for Cleveland on play number 2. And then basically tracked down dude running an out route where I've seen linebackers die on the cross trying to get out to that route. I've seen DBs on this particular football team not be able to cover that route. So the fact that they just said, we know where you're going, Cleveland. We know what player you're going to. We're putting our best cover linebacker on your best tight end on each and every play. They've realized they don't even have to put Bowser in the pass rush. Now you can solve those 4th and 5s where these big tight ends just post up on these safeties, post up on your nickel corners. Now they're going to be posting up on Bowser. He's by far the best cover linebacker on this team. And besides the 2 cats at Cleveland, I wouldn't put anybody else up against him in terms of coverage.
Yeah, what's crazy about the point you made about, they found what he does best is what he does best is everything.
Yeah. Wherever they're going, put them.
Yeah. Don't pigeonhole him into just 1 or 2 roles. Let him do everything. And let him do it all over the field. And like you said, all those things that you mentioned, he'll chase things down from the backside, run. I think, they had, a package of pressure kind of in where him and whoever else was inside. So you saw this a couple times on 3rd down. It might have been Board, might have been Clark dropped down, where it's like he was spying Baker, but it was almost like a spy sort of hug rush kind of situation. Like, all right, if the back goes to your side, you taking Board, you taking Clark. I'm going to sit on Baker. If he's going to stay in and not try to get out, then I add to the rush, right? And they kind of alternated it that way throughout. And so, you just got this guy who can do so many different things on defense. And, you remember the talk back in the offseason about, you keep Judon, you keep Bowser, what do you do? Hey, look, both guys are balling, right? Different systems, being asked to do different things. and both guys are balling. And I'm happy for both guys. Uh, Owe too. I want to mention Owe in Houston because I think what I was seeing from them, obviously they were good in the run game, but particularly in pass rush too, because Cleveland sort of did the Ravens a favor in that way. They dropped back to throw it a lot more than I thought that they would, right? And I don't have the numbers in front of me. Our guy at Yoshi 2052 on Twitter, he did a whole thread, a whole breakdown of that, so you can go check that out and see the actual numbers. So even if you factor out non 2 minute situations, of course you expect to throw the ball in 2 minutes. Even if you factor out, kind of towards the fourth quarter into the game where they needed, to kind of come back because they were trailing a certain amount. Even taking those situations out, they threw it significantly more than they ran. And that was not something that I was expecting the Browns to do. And I was highlighting Owe and Houston because they were getting pressure on their one-on-ones. They were winning their one-on-ones pretty consistently. And so, when that's clicking, when, like you said, you're being gap sound and you're being disciplined and you're trusting the guy next to you in the run game, typically good things are going to happen up front. But now we can move to that second level because there's some pretty good things happening there too. Our guy, 6, Queen out there flying around, making plays. Josh Bynes still controlling traffic, directing the show. How do you think the linebackers played?
It's a beautiful thing as a linebacker when you don't have to think. And over the course of the last 4 weeks, they have allowed Mr. Queen to do what he does best, which is go find the football. Stop thinking about formations. Stop thinking about, thinking about your assignment, but really, you don't really have an assignment. That's the beautiful thing in any defense. If you're a 3-4 or 4-3 linebacker, you're the will linebacker. 95% of the time, you are protected. You're protected by a tackle, a nose tackle. Even your Mike linebackers protecting you front side. So for you, it is literally see what you see. Don't guess. You don't have to guess now because you got time. And that's why you always see the fastest linebackers that will linebacker, because they need to stay home. But in essence, they have to be the fastest because they have to trigger to cover the most space. Excuse me. So with Queen, he is now understanding that he can just go get it. He don't have to think about it. He can just go get the football. And now he's got Bynes behind him. He's got a safety net. He knows if he's a step out of place, Bynes is going to fill his hole. And Bynes understands that. It's been what I thought they've always needed. I thought when LJ Fort went down, I thought that would be a big problem. I think we talked about in preseason how I always thought the fourth linebacker was never on his team until Bynes showed up after LJ Fort. So if there's an MVP on this defense, it's Bynes. It's Bynes. It's Bynes. It's Bynes. It's Bynes. Now everybody's going to say the great turnaround of Patrick Queen. It's always been there. Yep. We've talked about it here. It's always been there. When you only play about 2 years worth of football, it's going to take a couple years for it to show up in games. And now he's in that golden age of a linebacker where we all get there, where everything you see is right. You see line pulls, you see screens, you see draws, you see plays before they happen, so you take off before the snap of the ball, knowing what the play is, because everything is now, you're focused. You're understanding how everybody's moving in front of you. You've got your protection behind you. It just frees you up to just play and do what you're naturally gifted at.
Yep. We talked about it during that film session and that we did on Patrick Queen. And, whatever words you want to use to describe it. You talked about, not overthinking. People say just playing football. Some people say, whatever you want to use to describe it. Coach Evans even talked about during that film session when he just goes. When he just goes, and you can see how fast, how physical he was playing in that game. Really, all right, this is going to probably upset some people, but I got to throw it in there. Really, you got a chance to see, I think, two of the best in the division at that, in Queen and my boy Owusu Koromora on the other side. When it comes to you seeing it and chasing it and going to get it, those two guys.
Number 28. You, sir, should never, ever be out of a Cleveland Browns jersey. And if you are, you need to be in a Baltimore Ravens jersey. That is it.
Yeah.
Don't know. They have hit gold with him. They will not have an issue playing Lamar going forward with him.
He can go.
He can go.
He can definitely go. Definitely go. But again, I'm not going to turn it to that. I'm not going to turn it to that. I know people.
We're not going to sit here and praise other people.
People already know out there a little bit of a Browns history. I'm not going to go there. Okay. But I just say game, recognize game. That's all.
Shoot. All I know is that boy can ball.
Right now. Yeah. And like you said, we got a guy at Patrick Queen who can ball too. And we always knew he could. We always knew he could. Just to your point, needed time, and we're not saying he's there yet. He's still progressing, right?
Like I said, he's in that golden age. Nothing's wrong. You can't be wrong right now. It comes to an end. But
all things do. All things.
Yes.
Do. Right.
The ride is fun. The ride is fun.
Right now, we're loving it. And then we'll finish up the Browns game with the secondary. Right. So, we can lump the corners and the safeties in there all together. We know our guy, Brandon Stevens, has been playing a larger role ever since Deshaun Elliott, unfortunately went down. I thought this was a good game for him. I thought Stevens was solid in this game, whether it was in coverage, whether it was, rush support. He had to come up a couple times. There's one in particular I got in my head right now against Kareem Hunt, and everybody talks about Chubb, but Hunt is a load too. Now he's a physical dude.
I do not know how just a large human he is. Like he's up there in Marshawn Lynch's kind of body type and power.
He'll drop the pads on you. He'll try to pass and try and run through you. And Stevens had to meet him in the hole. Now, I mean, it was one of those runs. I don't know. I think it was first half, maybe in the beginning of the second half, or it was like a 7 or 8 yard game. So it was a good game. But he still had to come down and he had to take that big man off his feet. And he did. So I thought he was solid there. Chuck Clark was his usual self, doing things all over the field, making plays all over the field. And, it was good to have Anthony Aford back in this game on the other side of Marlon.
Didn't hear his name very much.
It's a quiet game.
In
a good way. In a good way.
People are starting to respect him a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
People are going after Mr. Humphrey, and he responded.
Yes, he did.
He played probably his best game of the year. Truly probably his best game of the year.
And doing what he does best, which is move around. That's really kind of become his thing. Yeah, it's kind of become his thing.
Got away from being physical for a while.
Yeah.
Starting to get his confidence back. A little bit of that mojo going. A little bit of that corner swag we always talk about.
Yeah.
Gotta have it. If you don't.
And this was the game for that too. I mean, look, no shade to these guys. They're in the NFL. You got to be among the best of the best to even make it to this level. But Donovan Peoples-Jones, 84. I mean, that sounds bad that I don't know his name. I'd have to look his name up. But 84 for the Browns, the other wide receiver who was that. Because I know Higgins, I know Hollywood, Rashard Higgins, but he was a healthy scratch in this game, which, not a good look for him. But, if there's going to be a game where you're maybe kind of get your swag back a little bit against an opposing wide receiver group. Obviously, Landry is still a dude. You gotta respect him. But this was, and that showed up in a lot of their situational coverage. They were just playing man. in a lot of these situations because like
what,
we get mad at these dudes.
What Cleveland doesn't do is the reason why the Ravens play the Cleveland Browns so well. Is they don't do a lot of this with trips and what gets the Ravens in problems against Miami, against any other team, the Colts. They do this, and the Ravens are content in staying in man. Eventually, no, you can't be in man. You got to be in zone. So hopefully this week we'll see some more zone with the Steelers in town because all you're going to see is slants, outs, and fade routes. Yep. That's literally their offense.
Yep. And there are two big pass plays. That long one, to your point, to Landry, that was like a deep crosser. Yep. I think they were in some kind of fire zone.
They were. I think
no pun intended.
No, the corner got picked off by the linebacker. I was watching it this earlier today. It's once again when you get you get three receivers with the which I don't understand. Running back was on the other side of the quarterback, so he's not even to the trip side. So I'm still like boggles my mind, like how you messed that up. Like how did y'all not figure out a 3-on-3 with the running back on the other side? But then the running back stepped into the hole, and then the linebacker for some reason stepped wide into the trip, and then he got involved in all the DB nonsense and not so. It did its job, but it wasn't like it was conceptually a great plan.
No, and the other one was like a corner. It's like a corner route, kind of a steady type thing to the tight end. That's Harrison Bryant. It's actually the play he got hurt on, and he was out for the rest of the game. But it was just one of those things. That was a good ball in between. It was over Humphrey's head. It was in front of Stevens. It happens. It's the NFL. But that was it. Really, in terms of like really long pass plays. And so, I thought that they were really solid overall back there on the back end. A lot of guys getting some more time. Talked about Brandon Stevens, Geno Stone getting some more run back there, playing some deep safety, coming up in the box, doing some things. I should have mentioned this. We were talking about the linebackers. My guy, Christian Welch, got some burn in this game on defense. I mean, he's been playing special teams in every game, but he got some burn on defense, and it wasn't due to injury. This was, Harbaugh.
He's like a planned thing that he's going to get some more snaps.
Yeah, Harbaugh said he earned it, and I know we talked about one play because I sent it to you, doing the same things we've seen him do when he plays in the preseason. The man will run through some gaps. Now, whether he's got the change in direction and
you just got to let go
to make the tackle as he goes there.
Yeah. Just let go. You're not going to be perfect when you get there, and I think in his mind, he still thinks he's got to make the perfect tackle when he gets there. So he'll bend and he'll reach his arm, and instead of just giving it up, he's like, "Oh, I got to go back and double." No, give up. Like in the NFL, if you get a leg on somebody, 13 other guys are going to be there in 0.2 seconds. You just got to slow him down.
And that's why I've always been optimistic about him, because I'm like, you know what? That part will come, like you said, with experience, with confidence, but the instincts to see those plays and go get it.
Yeah,
I like that about him. I've always liked that about him.
He'll be a solid. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually, if he can turn a corner, he would be starting next to Queen next year.
Oh wow! You went big. I was like, I can see him definitely as part of the rotation. You
think about it though, because particularly in their defense, when everything works right, it's not a great talent at Mike except for Ray. Other than that, who have we had there? Darryl Smith, smart, intelligent, not the biggest guy in the world. Josh Bynes, not the fastest dude in the world, but intelligent in the head. Then you got the likes of Peanut. No.
That was an experiment.
Stop. That wasn't an experiment. They actually thought that out in the offseason and actually let that happen. Well, don't excuse that.
Hey, well.
Just don't excuse that.
Hey, water under the bridge. You know what? It didn't work out. Lesson learned. Lesson learned, right?
But I'm saying though,
they went back to
yes, this defense works very well with a cerebral middle linebacker. Just works well. Because then the will linebacker can go nuts. Do whatever he wants.
What you gonna do with Malik Harrison? What you gonna do with him?
I am moving him outside in the rotation.
Outside backer, okay.
I don't know if Justin Houston's coming back. I would like for him to come back, but I'm most likely going to have to choose between him and Calais Campbell. I don't know who I'm choosing yet. Depends on if Calais Campbell's coming back for the year. Yeah,
he even floated the retirement talks. You know, once that's in your head,
yeah, it's hard to get out. So I'm just saying, like, Malik Harrison can be the McPhee of the world. Turn him into that Joker where you can put him over the center and just jack him up. Open up lanes for everybody else. Put him over the guard and run a stunt with Owe. Like, okay. Like, it allows you to use your personnel better if you have someone who's a smart middle linebacker.
I like it. I can see it. He's definitely got the he's got the physical profile. I want to say Malik is he's 6'4", 6'5", 240, 245, 250-ish, somewhere in there. He's a big kid.
It's tough playing middle linebacker that tall.
He's a big kid. Yeah.
Stuff.
He's a big kid.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to hit on the Browns game, or do we want to kick it over to the Steelers week?
We'll kick it over to the Steelers. We'll talk a couple minutes about this horrible. No, I'm
kidding. Hey, what do you always say? I feel like you got to say this anytime it's Steelers week. Throw out the records. You got to say it. So,
I don't know about this week. What I've seen, and I've seen the Steelers play 3 times on TV. I have been extremely disappointed. That is not the Steelers team I grew up watching. Even last year's team was a little more physical, but not as physical as Steelers teams past.
Hey, Ryan Clark agrees with you.
This Steelers team, that's tissue paper. And you kind of saw it, you really saw it in the comments where what you said, Ryan Clark was like, basically, that's the softest group of individuals I've ever seen in a Steelers uniform. And Mike Tomlin, without even blinking, said, yeah. I was like,
he co-signed it quick. He did co-sign it quick.
He's like, yeah, he's probably right.
Then they had the stuff from Claypool talking about practice could be more fun if we're playing music, and it's
talking about practice.
It's some drama. It's some drama coming in,
and that's not good drama. That's coming from being in the college locker room where there could be good drama, there could be bad drama, and then there's destruction of team drama. They're teetering on destruction of team drama, because that's not the only issue. That is the issue that's coming out in terms of music and not being fun and not being physical. But you can probably trace this back a couple years where Ben said he was retiring and then came back, and they didn't draft a quarterback, and you just basically said Ben Roethlisberger run this team, and you ran out of Le'Veon Bell and Brown, but somehow Mike Tomlin was able to keep all that under wraps until Ben Roethlisberger opened his mouth about Antonio Brown. Nobody remembers that. It was back in right before Brown really started going over the edge. It was right before he was wearing a mink coat on the sideline for week 17. He showed up for the first half and then got the jet left. Ben was talking mess about him earlier in that season about how he wasn't showing up to practice, he was not doing this, blah, 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 blah. I think at that moment, that whole squad, that whole organization turned in the wrong direction and gave the quarterback all the power and kind of left the head coach kind of like, you want me to take the 36-year-old quarterback who's probably was done at 34. We just kept him around because Le'Veon Bell was Le'Veon Bell for 6 years.
Yeah. Well, they're coming in. I know I said throw the records out, but 5-5, coming off of an ugly game against the Beagles, a 41-10 curb stomping. That was an ugly one. But you know, I was worried. We talked about it. We talked about this. I was worried about all the drama stuff. And I see your point. I feel like if they were to lose this game, then this could be the thing that sends them into that destructive team, like just they're, like you said, kind of teetering on it right now. Losing this one and going 5-6, your season's not over, but it's not looking great. And that could kind of send you over the brink, right? The stuff we heard this week could be like nothing compared to what comes out after this game if they were to lose this game. And it's that desperation that worries me. Like, I think they know that. I think Tomlin knows that. Maybe the young guys don't know. But I think the guys that have been around, like Tomlin knows, like, hey, this thing could like just go completely off the rails if we lose this game.
Well, it's a little bit different. If this was about play on the field and everybody was pissed off and they can point it back to practice and say, hey, we just didn't have a good week of practice. We just got physically beat up, blah, blah, blah. We're going to come out a different football team. If that was the message that was coming out this week, okay, sure. I will buy the emotional strain. This has nothing to do with football. What's going on in that locker room has nothing to do with football. I don't know what, I'm not going to speculate what's going on in that locker room or however. I've been in enough locker rooms to know what you're hearing tells me this goes well beyond football. And that's why when people end up at the Ravens, people say this is a wonderful organization because they say football first when you walk in that door, football last when you walk out of that door. But once you walk out that door, go be with your family. Go be you. Go be your 100% authentic you. You don't get that in Pittsburgh. You got guys on Twitter. You got guys on TikTok talking this way, talking that way, and it ends up in the news, blah, 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 blah. Do you hear about Marcus Peters? I mean, we're the local. We hear about Marcus Peters' Instagram. We hear about Marlon Humphrey's Instagram. But is it talked about on the national news? Like TikTok? Like what was going on in Pittsburgh? Like, no.
No, it wasn't like that.
Oh, and that's different.
Yeah.
That's a culture that's losing out. You're gonna turn it to the Jets.
No, you don't.
Real fast.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Real fast. Who's their quarterback next year? Who's their wide receivers next year? Juju Smith is out. Chase Claypool is a one-trick pony.
You still got Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson's nice.
He can't catch in the clutch. What else you got?
He does struggle with dropping the ball.
Their offensive line is horrible.
My man can get
the best thing on that team is their running backs.
Yeah, I like him. I'm a big fan of him.
and he gets hit at a rate behind the line of scrimmage higher than anyone else in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, that O-line, it's been an up and down, and it's probably been a little bit more down as of late than it's been up this season. Young group, a lot of young guys there, and so you kind of expect some of that with young guys.
But where's the talent on that football team? Where's the talent on the offensive side of the ball at this point? Like, where are their drafts been like? Like, I'm a little bit pissed off that Pittsburgh is actually in this position. Like, seriously, as a fan, like, how did it get to this point on the offensive side of the ball where if I turn on a film, who scares me? Like, seriously, who scares me? And if I'm the Ravens, I okay, you can throw a jump ball to Chase Claypool all you want. That's what you got.
I mean, that's look, I look at the guys and I'm just like, hey, these are the guys. It's Claypool, it's Deontay Johnson, it's Najee Harris, it's I'm gonna screw up the tight end's name, Freiermuth. I think that's
Friar Tuck. What?
young guy, rookie, but good player, good looking player. I think they've got something at the skill positions. I think you mentioned it. The two biggest issues for them are quarterback and on the offensive line. I mean, that's and those are big. Those are big places to have issues. So that's a major problem.
I know no one's throwing out there, but you got the money next year. Hey, Seattle, what y'all want from Russell Wilson?
Don't you say?
I'm
not trying to.
Why not
in this division? I'm not trying to see him. His 19 hours of rehab a day.
I want to see Sierra.
Hey, that's a whole different story. That's a whole. Those two things. I understand they're married, but for me, those are two separate discussions. I got no problem with seeing Sierra. Mr. Unlimited and his pregame, huddle routines, calling plays to nobody, and
him and Drew Brees, y'all different.
When they showed that during that one game, it was during the Monday night or a Sunday night game. I was like, he had to know the camera was on him. This man is down on the ground like he's in the huddle, and he's calling out a who is he talking to? He's looking. He's like, G right, Q slide. I was like, who is he talking to?
Who are you talking to?
And look, I get the part about calling out the play, right? Repetition. You're making sure you understand the play calls and all that. But who are you saying it to? You're looking around like he was literally like, hey, right side 22. I was like, you out here by yourself? You by yourself, man. And then look, right? So look, I know I'm going on about it, but this was hilarious to me. So he does that, right? He comes up to the line, takes his drop, throws the ball, and then like to the imaginary receiver, right? They call it. He's pointing at him. He's like, hey. He's taking it to another level, right? I've heard about visualization, right? We great players and stuff, they visualize, but he took it to another level. Let's took it to a whole nother level.
Whole different level.
So yeah, you're right. If you can make the money right, I mean, Russ is his.
I mean, they're paying Ben 28 or whatever they're paying him this year.
I forget the 4 teams he talked about. I mean, his agent released some teams.
Oh, it didn't have Pittsburgh. It was
so disrespectful to Dak that he would even throw the Cowboys out there. But he
because he had those discussions with Seattle, and Seattle said, "Never mind."
Yeah,
exactly what happened. He was going to New York, most likely.
Yeah, I think that was one of them. I think Washington would be a good fit for him. Because I mean, I think they got some tools on offense. They got some players.
But I think Seattle wants him out of the NFC for sure.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would not like to see. I mean, I don't care. I mean, he'd be going into probably year 11 or 12.
I think I heard on TV earlier it was Denver. I was like, Lord help us all. Another old quarterback in Denver.
Keep him out of the AFC North. I'm you know, I know people may say he's not what he was or whatever, but I that guy is a problem in my mind. I don't.
He can still win some football games. He's still really good. He may not be MVP, but he's still better than at least 20 quarterbacks in this league.
Yeah. And, you know, he's still coming off the broken finger thing. People may say, hey, that's not, look, that's got to be playing some part. But anyway, look, before we land this plane, because I took us down a crazy path with the fake huddle stuff. We'll end on this. Ravens will beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Keep that in mind. This is on the road. This is another reason why I think this is tougher than people think. They will beat the Steelers if they do what?
Control Najee Harris, and do not give up big plays.
Okay.
Pittsburgh is not going to try to trick you. They may throw a what is that? A flea flicker at you every once in a while, but they're not going to do anything crazy. So, gotta put that in your back of your mind. Say, probably not. But gotta be physical. Gotta be physical. Gotta be physical. But you cannot let Chase Claypool just jump all over you like you don't have any sense. Like, you know what he's going to do. Please. I beg you, if you're watching this, do not let him beat you with jump balls. I will drive to Pittsburgh myself, and we'll have to have a chat. I'm serious.
If you need to visualize yourself guarding Chase Claypool and say the things that you would say to him, you know.
Oh, I saw a clip today that it encompassed everything that is what is wrong in Pittsburgh right now. It was like he caught like a 30-yard pass and it was 41-3. I sent you the clip.
Oh, yeah.
It was 41-3. And he trash talking the special team practice squad guy that got called up in the second team corner.
Yeah. It's not a good look. It's not a good look for my man. We talked about this. I told you there's some stuff there. I respect him as a player and on the field, but there's some stuff there, some comments, some other things he said. Remember, what year was it where they had already lost to the Ravens, and he was talking about some other, like I guess it was the Bills, right? It was like after the season. He was, well, they got done up by the, you know, it's like he was going on about, okay, yeah, we lost, but look at what I don't want to put it, I don't want to get it wrong. It might not have been exactly that, but it was basically like not focusing on them and him, right, talking about what some other team done. And I'm like, come on, man, that's not. Because he was sitting in like a gaming chair. That's what I remember. He was sitting he had like his fingers and stuff in there. That's why it stood out to me. But anyway, this how you know we done gone way too long. So we just get crazy here. Yeah. But you heard it. You heard it right there. What it's going to take for the Ravens to win this game. Control Najee Harris. You said Najee Davenport. There's a funny story about him doing stuff in people's closets. We're not going to go there.
Hey, leave the car washes out of this.
And don't give up. No, I'm serious. You never heard? Okay, I won't do it.
No, we don't. No.
Oh man, I won't do it. It's funny though. But and then you know, don't give up the big play. All right. So you heard it. Those are Denard's keys. Hey, we're gonna wrap this thing up because we wild it right now. So thanks everybody for listening. Like, subscribe, download, interact with us on Twitter, all that good stuff. Tell a friend and tell a friend. And we'll get at y'all next time. Y'all be good. Break.